Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a workout with just two pieces of equipment, a bench and a pair of dumbbells. And I think this is a really great program to go through on the channel because if I was just starting my own home gym, this would be the two pieces of equipment that I would start with. A really good quality, sturdy bench and some dumbbells. Now, if you're planning on doing a serious home gym, then I would consider doing fixed dumbbells like I have here. They're really quick and easy to use and make your workouts just flow a whole lot easier. But of course, it's not in everybody's budget, so at least a pair of adjustable dumbbells would be another great option. Now, the reason why I think these pieces of equipment are the ones to start with is because there's such a large variety of exercises that you can do. However, today I'm not going to go through every single exercise you can do with these pieces of equipment. Instead, I want to go through just 6 exercises that will hit almost all the major muscle groups of the body. And that way we can do a workout that's really time efficient, but it's also really effective. So I'm going to go through 2 pushing exercises that focus largely on the chest, shoulders, and triceps. I'm going to do 2 pulling exercises that focus more on the back and the biceps. And then of course, I want to do 2 lower body exercises. One that focuses more on the quads and another exercise that focuses more on the hamstrings and glutes. So stay with me guys and let's get stuck into this bench and dumbbell workout. So the first exercise I want to go through with you guys is the dumbbell bench press. It's a great exercise for the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps. Now the way we do it is with our dumbbells, we lie flat on the bench, and from here we're going to push the dumbbells straight up towards the ceiling and back down again. When we come down, we want to be a bit wider than the chest, and when we come up, we want to bring those dumbbells towards each other. Good way to think about it is that the elbows are always going to stay straight underneath your wrists. So your forearms are always vertical. That way you should always do it at basically the correct width. Now where I see people go wrong with this exercise is they often bring the dumbbells down too high, maybe in line with their shoulders or their neck. You really want those dumbbells to be in line with the lower part of your chest. Not only does that reduce the chance of injury, it also helps you use the chest to the full extent with this exercise. Another mistake I see are people not going deep enough. They get a bit shy with this exercise. You want a full range of movement. So bringing it right down to where it's basically level with the chest and back up again. If you can't get the dumbbells that deep, you're likely using a weight that's a little bit too heavy. Speaking of weight, you want to use a weight that you can do 8 to 12 repetitions with. If you can do 3 sets of 12 repetitions, the weight is likely too light for you and it's time to move up. If the weight you're using, you can get at least 8 reps with, that's a good sign. And I would stay with that weight until you can reach 12 repetitions for 3 sets, and then it's time to move up. All right guys, let's move on to our second pushing exercise. Okay guys, for our second pushing exercise, we're going to do a dumbbell shoulder press. This is a great exercise for the shoulders and the triceps. So the way it's performed is with a bench. We're bringing these dumbbells up beside our shoulders and underneath our ears, and then we're pushing them up and towards each other. You can tap them at the top if you like, you don't have to, but do make sure that when you come down, you go below the ears each time, so that we get a full range of movement out of this exercise. Now currently, I'm doing this exercise with the back support because I've got an adjustable bench. This is a good option. It allows you to put a little more strength into the exercise because you don't have to worry about keeping yourself vertical the whole time. However, if you don't have an adjustable bench, you can absolutely do this exercise just sitting on a flat bench like this and keeping yourself vertical as you push those dumbbells up like that. Both have their different pros and cons. In fact, if you have an adjustable bench, you might want to do it sometimes with the back support and other times just like this to give yourself a little bit of variety. If you are going to use the back support, just make sure that you have the back support almost vertical. So like 80, 85 degrees, not quite 90, but you don't want to take it back too far either, or it starts to become a little bit like an incline bench press, which is another version of that first exercise that we did. Okay, 8 to 12 reps, 3 sets. Let's move on to our first pulling exercise. So the first pulling exercise we're going to do is the one arm row. It's a great exercise for the upper back and the biceps as well. Now the way to perform it is using our bench. We're going to put one hand and one knee on the bench, and with our free arm we'll grab the dumbbell and we're going to pull it up towards our ribs like this and back down again. Now the most important thing about the one arm row is getting our posture on the bench correct. There's 2 things that we need to watch out for. First of all, we need a nice neutral spine. So we don't want a rounded spine like this. To avoid that, we're going to stick our backside out and we're going to stick our chest out to get a little bit of a curve in our lower back. The other part of our posture that's really important is that we're square to the ground. And what I mean by that is our hips need to be level and our shoulders need to be level, rather than having one shoulder or one hip higher than the other. So make sure shoulders are in line, and if you need to, just bend your knee a little bit so that your hips are horizontal, they're parallel to the ground. From here, we're going to try to pull our shoulder blade back as much as possible to lift that dumbbell up. And that way, we're going to use the upper back as much as possible. We want to try to avoid rotating like this to do the exercise. That way, we're cutting out some of the work that the upper back is trying to do, and instead, we're using our core and momentum instead. So, nice and flat to the ground, nice and level, and just pull that shoulder blade back to do the work. Of course, 8 to 12 on one arm, and then 8 to 12 on the other arm, 3 times. So the second pulling exercise we're going to do is the dumbbell pullover. And it's a great exercise for the lats, the back, and it also does a bit of the triceps as well. Now the way to perform it is lying down on the bench, and rather than grab the handle of the dumbbell, we're going to cup the top of the dumbbell like that. What I do is I wrap my thumbs around one side of the handle and my hands around the other side of the dumbbell. Of course, if you've got adjustable dumbbells, make sure you've got really sturdy collars on your weights. Now from here, my arms are almost straight. Not quite. They've just got a very slight bend in the elbows, but they're very stiff. And I keep my arms stiff as I extend the dumbbell back behind me before bringing it back up to that start position. So I'm really stretching out and then using those lats and triceps to pull that dumbbell back above me. Now, the depth is a little bit different depending on how flexible you are. So some of you might get to a point where it feels like you're maxing out your flexibility, and that's fine. Stay within that range. Others may be able to go further. And I would recommend not going any further than when your arms are level with your body. That's probably a good place to go to maximize the benefits from the exercise without increasing the risk of injury. Just like our other exercises, 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. All right, let's move on to our lower body exercises. Okay guys, for our first leg exercise, let's do a dumbbell step-up. It's a great exercise for the quads mainly, but it also does work the hamstrings and glutes as well. So it's a good all-round leg exercise. Now you want a good sturdy bench for this. If your bench at home is a little bit rickety or wobbly, it might be worth trying to find something else to do this exercise on, like a box or a bench top, or even if you've just got a high step or something at home, that would be worth doing it on as well. Basically, we'll choose one leg And from here, we're going to stand all the way up until this leg is straight, and then all the way back down again. Now, you want to get full extension out of this leg. So we basically want it to completely straighten before we put that foot down. Or what I like to do is sometimes go into a high knee position like this to ensure that I get full extension out of that leg. What it looks like when you don't get full extension is either like this, where that knee stays bent, or that other foot gets to the bench quickly and then we squat all the way up. We want to avoid both of those. Also, that leg on the ground, try to avoid a big drive to get off the ground. Instead, try and put your weight onto that foot and get most of the drive out of that working leg first. I would start with my weak leg on this exercise. Whatever rep range I get to, I would match it on my good leg, because most of us will have a good and a bad side, but do this exercise long enough and you'll find that both legs start to even up after a while. Right guys, just like the others, 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. Let's move on to our last leg exercise. For our last exercise, we're going to do a single leg hip thruster. This is a great exercise for the glutes and also the hamstrings. Now, with our bench, we're going to position ourselves so that we can get our shoulder blades on top of the bench. Now, if yours is a little bit high like mine, you might need to shimmy on up there a little bit. And then you want to position your feet so that your heels are straight underneath your knees. And basically the action that we'll do is we're going to drop our hips and then we're going to push them up to make this tabletop position. However, we're going to do it with one leg. So we're going to choose a leg, straighten the other leg out, and then drive up like so. And that working leg is really going to have to flex those glutes and hamstrings to do the exercise. Of course, we're going to make it a little bit harder by adding a dumbbell into the equation. So we're just going to position it so it's right on our hips like this. So having a nice fat dumbbell like this one really helps to keep the exercise nice and comfortable. If you're using adjustable weights with thin plates, you may want to fold up a towel or something to cushion around your hip area. Again, shimmy up onto your bench, assume that position, dropping down and really driving up. Really try and keep this other leg, the non-working leg, pointing straight out in front rather than letting it bend in like so. That will increase the amount of work that working leg will have to do. Just like our other exercises, 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions on each leg, of course. Okay guys, there's a nice, simple and quick workout you can do with just a bench and dumbbells. I can't imagine that workout taking you much longer than 20 to 30 minutes, so it's a really time efficient way to get a full body workout in. Hopefully it's given some of you some ideas or got you started with your new pieces of equipment. There's many more exercises that you can do with a bench and dumbbells, and I'll definitely be doing more videos to show you those in the future. In the meantime, good luck with your workouts and I'll see you soon.